I am Johnny Massacre and welcome to my world. Tonight, let's look at the news, shall we? We're going to talk about the forthcoming woke Star Wars, as well as DEI, Trump, Biden, Disney, Vivek, and all that kind of stuff. Big shout out to my American patriots and also my Japanese imperialists, many of whom are not around today after their kamikaze activities, but I still rather like their flag. How's it going, everyone? It is 6:39 in the morning in Tokyo. If you do like this show, you are more than welcome to donate, of course. Streamlabs.com/Johnny Massacre. I'll read out your donation message live, and everyone's going to be happy, myself included. So I just thought I'd go through my Twitter bookmarks because there's so much news that's been dropping over the last couple of weeks, and I'm sure you want to hear me talk about it because you know I've got opinions. I think we're going to start with Star Wars. So I don't know if you heard, but there's another Star Wars movie coming. Do you think that Disney learned their lesson after the profits from each of their last three Star Wars movies were progressively dropping off to the point where the last movie, Rise of Skywalker, was certainly considered a massive failure for Disney? Do you think they're going to continue with the same terrible storylines? Do you think they're still going to use the feminist producer Kathleen Kennedy, who tanked the series and tanked Indiana Jones recently? Do you think they're still going to go with all this stuff that made them wrap up their Star Wars attraction at Universal Studios or Disneyland, wherever the fuck it was? Of course it was Disneyland, but who cares? It's so forgettable that, you know, it doesn't even bear thinking about. Do you remember that? They sank billions of dollars into that. They're shutting it down. Do you think they're going to continue with the same kind of woke themes when Star Wars merchandise isn't selling well at all? All the new characters from Obi-Wan TV series and beyond are not selling. Do you think they're going to continue with this woke stuff? Yes, of course they are, because wokeness, aka socialism, knows no bounds. It's a political ideology. It's all about getting power. It's about taking over things. It's about assimilating things, changing them from within, and essentially turning them into party branches where they can use these franchises and institutions to push the narrative. It's always going to be like this unless somebody fires these wankers who are pulling the strings. So it is true, a new Star Wars movie is coming, and guess what? They're going to continue with the shit that destroyed the franchise. But color me fucking surprised. So check this out on Nerdist. They say 4 new Star Wars movies announced, including Daisy Ridley's return as Rey. Look at this bitch. She doesn't look like she's fit to hold a lightsaber, let alone a spoon in the kitchen whipping up your cake. You wouldn't trust her with anything, let alone that thing, would you? But no, they put her as the main character in Star Wars. Doesn't look like a believable character, doesn't look like a relatable person you think would be the face of someone fighting a war. But fuck it, this is all about socialism. It's all about pushing the narrative that women are victims, and so you need to vote for the left so they can help all the women and all the poor people. Yes, this is your new socialist hero. But socialism, as you know, it removes a meritocracy. It doesn't give people a chance who are actually good at what they're trained to do, such as a good actor like Mark Hamill. And it will give people a chance based on their immutable characteristics. It's a sexual ideology. It denies men the chance for these kind of roles. It's a racist ideology. They'll hire people based on race as opposed to skills. And when you do stuff like that, you simply remove the talent, because race and gender, lest I remind you, are not analogous to one's talent. So let's read about this upcoming Star Wars film, shall we? They say Rey will return in Charmin Obaid-Chinoy's Star Wars movie. Sounds like a very woke director indeed. This is going to be the most diverse director possible. She was clearly given a job just because of her sex and race. You can already tell by the name. Yeah, I said it because it's obviously true, and I'm a master of this shit, and I've been calling it out since day dot. They say on Nerdist.com, the third and final Star Wars movie announced will focus on the future. Obaid-Chinoy's movie will take place after the Rise of Skywalker. It will mark the return of Daisy Ridley as Rey. So they're going to continue with this storyline that everybody hated, that destroyed the franchise. They're going to continue with the characters that nobody liked, that were completely integral to the destruction of the franchise. This is, well, it looks like insanity from the outside, but it's not. It's a well-organized political movement. It's a communist movement. These people look after their own, and all they want to do is embed communists deep within all the important areas of society Star Wars is a very important area of society. These are the things that embody the American dream. Like young American boys and girls looked up to this and thought, I can make it. I can be a hero too. Not anymore. Now they want to turn these important vehicles into political propaganda, and they want to use these movies and franchises to make people see victimhood everywhere. Yeah, give a woman a role in this movie because women have it really hard done by. I'm going to vote for Biden to protect all the women. Look at all this hatred online that they wanted to happen because communists always want division. That's what they thrive off. That's how they accrue power. Look at all this division online. Look at all these misogynists not wanting Daisy Ridley to come back. I'm going to vote for Biden because clearly there's some kind of gender and race war in America. That's the kind of propaganda they want to push in these movies. Nerdist continues. It says, set 15 years after the ultimate defeat of the Sith, she will be trying to build a new Jedi Order. Hopefully that goes a lot better than her mentor Luke Skywalker's attempts. According to the new list of Star Wars eras, it seems like this movie will take place in the new Jedi Order era. Kathleen Kennedy is still destroying shit, even after South Park ridiculed her and made fun of her, even after she destroyed this franchise, even after she destroyed Indiana Jones. Remember that? Like, Indiana Jones came out recently. She totally destroyed it. She's still at Lucasfilm, costing them billions of dollars. This shows you how destructive and dangerous socialism is. Kathleen Kennedy, according to Nerdist, shared more about the movie with Variety. She noted, well, we're 15 years out from Rise of Skywalker, so we're post-war, post-First Order, and the Jedi are in disarray. There's a lot of discussion around who are the Jedi, what are they doing, what's the state of the galaxy? She's attempting to rebuild the Jedi Order based on the books, based on what she promised Luke. So that's where we're going. Oh, okay. So a woman is going to rebuild the world. A feminist Mary Sue that can be some kind of hero to all the little girls we're trying to indoctrinate and brainwash with our socialist propaganda. Okay, so Rey can fucking fix the Millennium Falcon. She can kick Luke Skywalker's ass. She can save the galaxy on her own. And she's going to rebuild the entire Jedi Order. When she never had any Jedi training beyond 5 minutes, flitting her lightsaber around like some kind of, some kind of dildo that she picked up in a back alley. Who could possibly fucking have conceived that we would be here again? After all this stupid shit we've been through with Star Wars, we're here again. We're going to get 3 more movies of the same shit, but this time it's going to be without Luke Skywalker, it's going to be without Darth Vader, it's going to be without Han Solo. They killed them off because their hubris made them believe that their stupid activism shit would be popular and people would like it, and they could get rid of the old characters and replace it with their communist shit in their cultural revolution. Nobody wants this. People want male heroes. That's what people want. I said it in my Rise of Skywalker review at the end. I said one of the main reasons this failed is because it needed a man in the lead role, because in a war, guess who fights wars? Men fight wars. Men kick ass. Men shoot the bullets. Men cut throats with the bayonets. Men kick ass. Physically, they're up to the job. And mentally, that's what men gravitate towards, is conflict, war, and fighting. Women don't like that shit. There's a few who like it, but mainly they don't. So you need a man in this role to make it relatable. A film about war, you need military generals. You need like some Bismarck type character up in there. You need some characters that resemble the historical figures over time that we know about to make it believable, relatable, in order for you to be able to suspend your disbelief in a wacky world full of aliens and fantastic weapons. But we won't have that at all. We're going to have more feminist shit. So this is really happening. I'm sorry to say, but I'm not surprised at all. So already the mainstream media is coming out and they're talking about how there are misogynists out there and racists who don't want this because they conflate leftism with intersectional politics like race and gender politics. Leftists believe that their calling in life is to save all the women and like save all the people who essentially aren't white, save all the oppressed people. And so therefore, when they conflate that ideology, for example, with what they do in Star Wars, with themselves, with their own like political ideology, that means if you criticize things like Star Wars, you're essentially criticizing leftism. And what that means is, if you criticize leftism under the thin veil of like pro women and like pro people of color, that means you're a racist. So it's a really smart trick what they do. They put their ideology into these franchises, and then when you criticize the franchise, essentially you're criticizing leftism, and that means criticizing leftism makes you a racist, and therefore either you vote for the left because you don't want to be a racist, or you shut the fuck up, don't say anything, and let them win the culture war. Look at this on Forbes. They say upcoming Star Wars film attacked as woke by right-wing critics over director's feminist comments. Now this is what they want. When they put like a women director here who certainly isn't fit to direct this franchise, they know that it's going to create division. They know people are going to call them out, and then they'll gaslight you and say, oh, you're racist and you're sexist. That's what they want. That's how Mao essentially took over China. He radicalized people through division. That's how Marxism works. They need some kind of revolution. They need people angry and agitated. So these activists like Kathleen Kennedy, these activist directors, she literally is an activist director, this new director who's directing Star Wars. They want there to be backlash. They want there to be division, and then they'll blame you for it, and they'll use it to take over your franchise. Look at all these racists and sexists. I'm going to double down on my feminism. And if you don't like it, you're a terrible person. And then this is going to become a propaganda vehicle. They want there to be conflict. That's how they get power. This woman, her career is forged off conflict. It's forged off activism. That's why she's in the Star Wars role. That's how she's got power. Because if you criticize her taking over Star Wars, you're going to be called a racist. You're going to be called a sexist. So let's give her a job. And that is essentially what happens to any franchise or institution that the left takes over. It becomes like a divisive hotbed. They'll gaslight you. They create the division. They use the division to get power and shut you up and bully their way into power positions. And then they take over the franchise. That's what's happening here. So according to Forbes, they kind of talk about this controversy of hiring this woke director for Star Wars. They say Oscar-winning filmmaker Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy is attached to direct an upcoming Star Wars film, making her the first woman to helm a film in the iconic franchise. But right-wing critics are blasting the movie as woke, which it is, after Obaid-Chinoy said it's about time a woman directed a Star Wars installment. How about we say it's about time a white man was in Black Panther? What would happen? They'd go fucking mad because that's racist. So how about a woman directs? That's basically sexist. That's saying like men aren't good enough. Forget about men. It doesn't matter if men are more suited to this and men are better in the role. We don't want men because we essentially believe women are better than men. This is literally sexist. And when you call it out, they're going to call you, you know what they're going to call you. So this article says, Obaid-Chinoy told CNN in a televised interview this week, it's about time that we had a woman come forward to shape a story in a galaxy far, far away. No, it's not, because women fucked up the galaxy far, far away. Kathleen Kennedy is the producer. She calls all the shots. She hires the director. She basically is behind all the creative decisions in Star Wars, and she totally flushed it down the shitter. So it's about time a woman got out of the project, because no one should be in the project just because they're a woman. Someone should be in the project because they're good at directing and producing Star Wars. So according to Forbes, Obaid-Chinoy, the new director of Star Wars, I can't believe this is happening, a filmmaker known for directing feminist documentaries, was announced in April 2023 as director of an upcoming unnamed film in the Star Wars universe starring Daisy Ridley, who portrayed protagonist Rey in the sequel of the main Star Wars series. If you were to chalk up a list of things that would absolutely bury Star Wars another 100 feet below the ground, you would, on that list would be, keep Kathleen Kennedy, bring back Rey, and let's get a feminist activist director who's hardly directed any films, who's literally on record saying, quote, I want to make men feel uncomfortable, end quote. And yes, I know that she said that because she's a Pakistani activist, and she's talking about, I don't know, the honor killings and the crazy shit that goes on in Pakistan. But still, this woman is an activist and she's a feminist. That is how you destroy the franchise. That's exactly what they're doing. And that's how you know these people are ideologues, because you can predict exactly what they're going to do to the letter. Forbes says Obaid-Chinoy will be the first woman and first person of color to direct a film set in the Star Wars universe. Where the fuck have you heard this before? You heard it with Vice President of the United States of America, Kamala Harris, the first woman and person of color to be the VP, and she's absolute dog shit, because if you select someone on race and sex, you're essentially reducing the talent pool by 90%, and you're going to end up with someone who's not that good, because race and sex have no bearing on your skills. This is socialism. Let's give job jobs to people who we perceive to be oppressed based on their immutable characteristics, not on their skills. That means unskilled people will get the job at the expense of skilled people who deserve the job, and you bring the standards down. And it's true, because Star Wars is shit, and that's the criteria from the last movie. But let's keep doing it, and it will keep on happening. And it pisses me off the way you get these like fucking conservative clickbait tossers online who say the culture war's turning, man, like wokeness is gonna end in 2024. No, it fucking isn't. These people look after their own. It's all about power. They keep themselves in power positions. You saw Claudine Gay, whatever her name is, at Harvard, communist out there, the plagiarism scandal. They didn't even fire her. She still works for Harvard, and she's on a $900,000 salary. These people look after their own. It's all about taking over institutions. Do you think Harvard's going to purge like its own staff? Why would they do that? They're already in there. They're not going to kick themselves out. In the same way, Kathleen Kennedy, these activists all involved in Star Wars and throughout Disney, they're not going to, you can't get rid of them. They own it now. They own it. And they don't care if they're going to lose money. Even the people investing in these companies are activists, you know, like BlackRock and stuff like that. They want to push these things ultimately. So this isn't going to end. This is going to keep going. The only way it will end is if so few people go to see it that people don't even care about it anymore. And who knows if we'll ever get to that point, because there's enough useful idiots out there who probably go and see it. The article says some right-wing pundits, criticized how these people talk about tolerance, right? We're so tolerant to everyone. We're tolerant to women, tolerant to gay people, tolerant to people of color. But they'll just use a kind of catch-all term like right-wing pundits. Like anyone who criticizes, they're like over there, these right-wingers. They're the most intolerant people ever. They project their prejudices onto other people when they pretend that they're somehow against prejudice and stuff. I can't stand these people. Forbes said some right-wing pundits criticize. How do you know they're fucking right-wing? Criticize Obey Chinoy, deeming her comments woke, which they are, and resurfaced remarks she made at a 2015 Women in the World Summit, in which she said she likes to make men uncomfortable through her art. Okay, so this was done talking about, you know, some Pakistani stuff, about bad shit that goes on in Pakistan. So in some ways, perhaps, you know, this director, Obey Chinoy, perhaps she is part of a noble cause. I don't actually know. But if she is, then she's basically talking about stuff, I believe, like in like the Islamic world, like a lot of bad shit out there, their kind of authoritarian system, and where there is a literal patriarchy. But ironically, Disney, the person who gives them a job, are really against patriarchy. So you can see some kind of, you know, conflict here. It's funny, like Disney talk about how there's like patriarchy and all this kind of stuff when there isn't any in the West. But actually, this woman, ironically, maybe she's one of the only people who works for Disney where you could say, oh, like her cause is actually legitimate, because over there in Pakistan, definitely women are not treated very well. So I don't know the context 100%, but Critical Drinker did talk about this, and he said those comments about making men uncomfortable was talking about men in like real patriarchal societies. So conservative pundits criticized Obey Chinoy's comments, including Benny Johnson, who claimed the Star Wars franchise is doomed. Correct. Pundit Matt Walsh posted a video of Obey Chinoy's Women in the World Summit interview, stating the film is destined to be Disney's biggest flop yet. It must be true. Quote, it's like they enjoy losing money. True, the popular right-wing account Libs of TikTok posted in response to Walsh. Conservative personality Ben Shapiro called Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy the worst entertainment executive of my lifetime. True. Kennedy has faced some online criticism and even a skewering on South Park because of speculation she's pushing for more inclusive content at Disney. True, though a Hollywood Reporter noted some criticism may be misattributed because she's not in charge of Disney's overall slate or considered the mastermind behind the company's so-called woke push. And that's also true. Some critics like Libs of TikTok have claimed film studios, particularly Disney, are losing money because of the films containing woke content like feminist or LGBTQ themes. Though some of the films attacked by conservatives in recent months have been profitable. Bullshit. All fucking lies. Socialist propaganda in movies is not enjoyable. People hate it. People hate politics. in movies. So Forbes says the Disney's Little Mermaid remake faced attacks from conservatives for casting Halle Berry, a black actress, as the character, who is white in the animated original. But the film grossed about $570 million worldwide. It was a massive fucking flop. It didn't make back the initial investment. Forbes says in trying to defend putting socialist intersectional politics in movies, Disney's Elemental also sparked controversy for featuring a non-binary character, but went on to gross nearly 500 million worldwide. Also, not mentioning it was a massive flop. So if this is your defense of putting woke shit in movies, I'm sorry, Forbes, you failed, because these movies are flops and they contain this ideology that's also in Star Wars. Then we got Barbie that was fucking massive. The thing is about Barbie is they hid all the woke elements initially, and also it's a female brand. So, you know, surprise, surprise, a female brand. Women like to go and see female shit. Star Wars is a male brand. They're desperately trying to make women like something that men like and that they don't like. So that's the difference here. You're taking a men's brand and you're reworking it. If you took Barbie and then you just made it into like a male movie, like hating on women, what do you think would fucking happen? That's exactly what they're doing with Star Wars. So already the controversy started. They want there to be controversy. The reaction is proof that they need to take over the franchise to stop all these racists and sexists. When they're the racist people, they are the sexist people, they are the intolerant people, they are the people who judge you on skin color, they're the people who judge you on sex, they're the people who want to divide society up into groups and think you all think the same like a hive mind. Fuck Disney, fuck the left, fuck these libtards, fuck Marxism, fuck socialism, fuck communism. God bless America. God bless meritocracy. God bless equality of opportunity. And with that, that's how we should make a fucking Star Wars film. Let's do it on a meritocracy. Let's hire people because they're the best people for the job. And naturally, the same way men gravitate towards science positions and working with their hands and like military positions, men will gravitate towards this kind of work because men are the people who are involved in wars, who start wars, who fund wars, who fight in wars, and who should be cast in Star Wars. Let's have some awesome female characters. Leia was a fucking badass, but she wasn't a cunt and she wasn't condescending. And she was very feminine. Like, those are the kind of women we want in Star Wars. And there's also loads of other female characters who've been in Star Wars who weren't the Marxist hero, who didn't have to, who weren't able to just get into a position with no work because it was given to them like a handout with socialist propaganda. Some of the female characters in Star Wars were wicked and they had to work for it. I played Knights of the Old Republic, that video game, that was awesome, had some female characters in there, very believable. We can, but you can't have these boss women Mary Sues who don't look physically up for the role, who are as physically strong as men in all regards in the film. You cannot have that, and yet that's what we're going to get. So in the Forbes article, they said, you know, having this woke stuff in movies isn't so bad, right? We had Little Mermaid. Little Mermaid was a flop. It did not make its budget back. Let's have a look at this. Little Mermaid Wikipedia. So come on over to my screen. The Little Mermaid 2023 film. This is not an advertisement for feminism. So it made $569 million. Its budget was about $250 million. It needs to make at least 2.5 to 3 times back to recoup the budget. They made no profit on that at all. One of the biggest Disney brands of all time couldn't even make back its original budget when you take into account advertising. Other films with kind of feminist propaganda in, the Marvels, they didn't mention that one, did they, in the Forbes article when they're defending putting LGBTQ plus and Marxist propaganda in their movies? I wonder why, because Marxists always lie. The budget was 274 million. The box office was 205 million. It needed to make back probably 600, 700 million when taking into account advertising to make back its original budget, and it didn't. So putting this feminist dog shit in movies does not work, but yet they continue to do it, and they will continue to do it in perpetuity because the people investing in it are also activists. It's not going to go away anytime soon. Conservatives and classical liberals really need to start making some original content sometime soon, or we're going to get this forever. They didn't mention Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny, another feminist film with a woman in it taken over from Indiana Jones, produced by Kathleen Kennedy, the same woman who's producing these Star Wars movies. Budget 295 million, box office 384 million. It basically they had to make about 900 mil to recoup the initial investment. Massive fail. Putting gender politics and shit like this in movies don't work. Forbes tried to defend it. It's indefensible. It destroys movies, and it will destroy the upcoming Star Wars. Peter Pan and Wendy, massive fucking flop. Blue Beetle had more feministy shit in it, and I don't know, like intersectional politics, massive fucking flop. I could go on and on and on. This is the woman who is directing Star Wars. Okay, hold on a minute. I need to just jig around behind the scenes and bring my system into your ears, my friends. Okay, this is the woman who is directing Star Wars. Let's see if she's going to be a good director, in spite of everything I've said.
At the heart of everything, I am a storyteller and an activist. And my body of work over the last 20 years has been guided by my activism. And every single piece of work that I've ever created has a piece of activism in it. It could be very overt or it could be covert, but it is there. And I think that as a storyteller, I'm not sure if all of you know this, but I'm not a trained filmmaker. So I never went to film school. I went to Smith College and did my undergraduate and studied economics and political science like a good Pakistani girl. And then...
Mate, save me.
And then I did my graduate studies, but also in international politics. And so I am an actor.
Fuck off. Fuck off. Fuck off. Get away from Star Wars, you stupid cunt. Star Wars is amazing. And don't gaslight me when I get pissed off when you destroy my favorite franchise that was made by men, stealing our shit and destroying our shit. If women are so good, why were the last 3 Star Wars movies abject, terrible? Because you fucked it up. You take our shit and you turn it into shit, and then you gaslight and blame. Oh, look how they're reacting. But that's how a good activist acts, isn't it? But I don't fall for it. Fuck this shit. Get these activists out of Star Wars. Get some men in there who know what the fuck they're doing and fix this shit. Straight up. Fuck that. She loves to make men feel uncomfortable. Okay. So how about I say, I love to make women feel uncomfortable. Do you see how fucked up that sounds? These are the people who are making Star Wars, which is wonderful. Which is absolutely wonderful. So another female director. Do you remember Deborah Chow, who directed Obi-Wan, which was fucking awful? They had that feminist, like, woman of color in it who was fat and just... that's the thing, socialism. You give people positions they don't deserve, and they're not fit for the job. So, like, okay, let's give like a fat person a job as like a badass who's like working for the bad guys. It just looks stupid. You can't elevate people who are just not good enough. So the last female director we had for Obi-Wan, it was absolute trash. I mean, fuck, dude. Female director for Barbie kind of makes sense. Female directors can be awesome. Lost in Translation was beautiful, but it was a bit sensual, and it had you know, that this kind of feminine, like, emotional qualities to it. It was awesome. I love that fucking film. And I'm sure there might be some female director who could do it well, but generally a man's going to direct a war movie better than a woman. Especially, I mean, considering that this movie it's literally given just because it's a woman. That's why she has the role. It's not to do with her skills. So Star Wars is in trouble, bruv. Star Wars is this is going to be I think this is going to be, it's probably not going to have too much of the original characters attached to it, although I'm sure they're going to try to somehow shoehorn them back in there as Force ghosts. But or they're going to have flashbacks, and they're going to use CGI, and they're going to use the old actor like Mark Hamill, make him young in a flashback, and they're going to use that in the trailer. Come back to this video when you see that, so I can say I told you so. In the same way they did it with Michael Keaton in The Flash when he came back as Batman. But I don't think the original characters are going to be that strongly attached to it. So maybe it's going to be less hated. People are going to be more apathetic towards it. Like, the original characters aren't there. It's already dead. But I mean, this is going to be, the original fans are going to hate this so fucking much. They're going to hate it so fucking much. Oh man, can you imagine how hard this film is going to flop? Rey is coming back. Nobody likes her. It's going to be more overtly feminist than ever, because this ideology always wants more and more and more. There's such a short supply of sexism and such a high demand that they had to manufacture some kind of sexism out there by making the movie shittier and shittier and shittier and pissing more and more people off to get that confirmation bias that we need more feminism and more socialism to fix it. That this is just going to be out of control bad. If you thought the last 3 Star Wars were bad, with Skywalker in it, with fucking like Han Solo in it, mate, you wait for this one. Kathleen Kennedy is going to dig in her heels after South Park. The Force is going to become even more female than it ever was. It's going to be more Rey. It's going to be boss woman, like fixing the world with no flaws. So there's no tension and no drama because you know she can't be killed. Just gets everything without earning it, like a really good socialist to make it excellent socialist propaganda. This is going to be, we're going to need a new word to describe how bad this Star Wars is. I'm not even joking. I'm Johnny Massacre, and if you're just joining us, we're discussing how Star Wars is about to be killed with the next Star Wars movie, again produced by Kathleen Kennedy, with a woke director and with Ray returning. But if you have been watching from the beginning, stop your grinning and drop your linen, donate some cash, and let's keep winning. Streamlabs.com/Johnny Massacre or patreon.com/Johnny Massacre. We've made $250 thanks to a few generous people. Death Call Jedi, I see you in the comments. 230 of those dollars are from him. If people can donate generously, then I'll be able to keep the lights on and keep bringing you these videos. So I had to talk about that because I love Star Wars and they're killing my Star Wars. But I mean, yeah, it is what it is, man. I'm not really surprised. So, do we have any other things going on? Well, let's just go through my Twitter bookmarks quickly. That went on a little bit longer than I anticipated, but let's just like race through, and then we're going to do some gaming streaming in 20 minutes at 1:30 the hour. So lots of things have been going on in the world. Let's just like breeze through, see what we can find. So Disclosed TV, they have this kind of news. Let's have a look at this. Disclosed TV say former president of Canadian Pride organization charged with committing child sex crimes against children under 16. Okay, absolutely wonderful news there. Elon Musk says cis is a heterophobic word. Shame on anyone who uses it. Yet the current Marxist playbook is you can't be racist or sexist to a white male. Yes, you can. Don't call people slurs. Don't call people words, regardless of their skin color or sex. It's pretty fucking simple, isn't it? So people are talking about now, you know, this plane, this Boeing, the fucking like door came out while it was flying, and then people highlighted the fact that Boeing now has diversity, equity, and inclusion standards and incentives within their company, which means they will hire people based on race and sex as opposed to their skills. As I've already said, race and sex doesn't have a bearing on intelligence, and so therefore, if you hire people based on those criteria, you're going to get people who are not fit for the job, and then potentially your door will rip out while the plane is flying, which is happening. Everyone's jumping on this news now. James Lindsay on X says Marxists always lie, in reference to an X by Hashim Metuzi, who says, reminded that quotas were outlawed by the Supreme Court in 1978. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is not about quotas. But James Lindsay then comes back at Hashim with a quote from United CEO Scott Kirby that says, over the next decade, United will train 5,000 pilots who will be guaranteed a job with United after they complete their requirements of the Aviate program, and our plan is for half of them to be women or people of color. Do you really want to fly on airlines like this when they give people a job just because they've got tits and just because they're not white? That's part of the criteria to get the job, not because they're necessarily a good pilot. Insane. But this is all about getting power, because again, they conflate giving jobs to these people with leftism. That's part of their ideology. That's part of their belief system, and you have to go along with it, or you're going to be called against these things they use as like a thin veil over their ideology. You're going to be called against women. You're going to be called racist if you don't want pilots who are just given a job based on their immutable characteristics. So essentially, it becomes impossible not to be a leftist. Otherwise, you're going to be called a racist. And what happens? Well, they bring the standards down by giving people jobs based on immutable characteristics, and in return, they get power. This means that 5,000 pilots who are going to work for this airline, they're all going to vote for Biden. If they were given jobs based on affirmative action, the only party who supports that is Biden, right? Is the left. So all of these people are going to be voters. Everyone flying your plane is going to be a leftist voter, or half of them. And that's what's important. It's about getting as much power as possible through socialism, and which is affirmative action, at the expense of anything. It doesn't matter if planes crash. It doesn't matter if the door flies out. What matters is they control it. This is a sick ideology. It doesn't matter if your Star Wars is destroyed. It doesn't matter if your kids don't have anything to enjoy anymore and all they see is political propaganda. All that matters is the mission and getting as much power as possible. It is a disgusting ideology. Yeah, Deathclaw, that's you. Yeah. It might well be you. It might well be you. Okay, so what else we got going on X? So talking about this Boeing whose door got ripped out, James Lindsay on X says up to 40% of the executives' potential pay is in that annual incentive pay program, which is tied to hitting diversity, equity, and inclusion targets. For those just catching on, diversity, equity, and inclusion doesn't have anything to do with aircraft manufacturing or safety. So this is showing you how some airlines now are rewarding executives for hitting equity, diversity, and inclusion targets. So here we can see, this is obviously some kind of airline, and it says, annual incentive pay program featuring multiple performance metrics at each of the company, business unit, and individual levels targeted to driving strong financial performance, as well as concrete improvements in product safety, employee safety, quality, climate, and equity, diversity, and inclusion. So this is what the airlines are pushing. Unbelievable. James Lindsay says, Boeing didn't just mandate diversity, equity, and inclusion at Boeing. It also prioritized ESG and DEI in their supply chain, as with ESG agendas, which suggests they did not look for the best suppliers on quality and safety on objective metrics, but focused on meeting their ESG goals instead. The annual incentive bonus tied to DEI targets is more than the base salary for the CEO and CFO. It is equal to the salary of the chief legal officer. These are perverse incentives for ideological projects that at best water down Boeing's mission, building safe aircraft. So James Lindsay said it gets worse. The 2023 Boeing DEI report is proud of how they tied executive compensation to DEI, not meritocracy and excellence regardless of race identity. In fact, they gave business resource groups stock awards for their contributions to inclusion, which essentially is corruption. This is now an industrial complex. They end up giving out money to activists. So, yeah, Boeing apparently reported they're proud that more than 50% of their interns are from underrepresented backgrounds. So they're giving people jobs not based on skills, but based on race and sex. And their doors are getting ripped out during flights, which is fucking disturbing. But again, it's all about power. If the left can take over something, it doesn't matter if people die. It doesn't matter if Star Wars is destroyed. It doesn't matter if people's faith in democracy is over. It doesn't matter if people end up rioting and, causing $2 trillion worth of damage over a couple of years, more damage than was caused previously in the history of the United States. BLM, I'm looking at you. It doesn't matter if the world becomes a miserable place. As long as they're in charge and they have power, it doesn't matter if you arrest your political rival. That's all that matters. That's all that matters to these absolute psychopaths. What else is going on in the news? So Vivek is amazing. So I think Vivek is a better person to run the United States than Donald Trump. He's pretty much the same as Donald Trump, but he's younger and he's more on the ball. And all of his topics about diversity, equity, inclusion, about FBI, he says he'll shut down the FBI to completely dismantle the intelligence agencies, climate change, fossil fuels, all this kind of stuff. Axine Vase, Ovid K. Vivek is fucking on the ball, and I'm telling you, man, people are starting to notice it. So there's various videos of him where people interrupt him and try to shout him down, and he'll interact with them and speak with them and change their mind. We've got an X here that says, here in Iowa, a woman interrupts Vivek rebuking DC's climate agenda to shout at him that climate change killed her family. Vivek's response is an unusual sight. He didn't call security. He engaged, debated, reframed. Interesting exchange. Contrast this with Hillary Clinton. When people shout at her, she gets people and security to kick them out the room, like all typical elites do, like all socialists do, like all authoritarians do. Vivek is engaging with people. I think he's fucking awesome. I think like a Trump and Vivek ticket would just be fucking out of control. He's a bit inexperienced. So this guy as VP with Trump as the main, that would be the fucking craziest shit I've ever seen. But I think Trump will fall out with him. So we've got more news about Harvard's president, Claudine Gay, who was booted out for plagiarism. There's lots and lots of news about this. Look, Vivek, he tweeted out, he X'd out, the so-called mainstream media polls are rigged. A must-read article from the Iowa Standard exposing the fraud. So this guy's, he's on it. He's really on it. Let's keep going, see what else in the news. So Fetterman is becoming red-pilled, apparently. He's on Israel's side, and he's not up for a ceasefire. Fetterman is suddenly, he's becoming more and more cognizant by the day. And Stephen L. Miller acknowledges that on X. He says he lives with us now, with a picture of Sloth from the Goonies, who's now hugging Chunk. And this is obviously a metaphor for John Fetterman becoming a conservative. So lots more news about diversity, equity, inclusion, bringing standards down, not just in Star Wars, but on airplanes. What else have we got going on here? There was some tweets by Elon Musk. So like, yeah, illegal immigration is getting fucking insane. Elon Musk essentially bought X so he can just bring attention to all the conservative viewpoints that are being censored in the mainstream media. So there's an article on Boston 25 that says Governor Healy asks residents to house migrant families amid growing shelter crisis. Elon Musk highlights this and says they've run out of hotel rooms, are kicking kids out of school for illegal housing, and now they want your homes too. So recently, some schools' gymnasium was shut down and the school was shut down to house illegal migrants. So, I mean, this is socialism, right? It's like the privileged people have to give up their schools, and now they want you to give up your house to give it to poorer people. Socialism is here in America. Socialism is the key part of the Biden agenda. They always talk about equity. Equity's meaning is essentially indistinguishable from socialism. More and more migrants are coming in. They take insane amounts of benefits. And then we have to pay more and more taxes to facilitate them and shut down our infrastructure. And essentially, the wealth is being moved from the middle class and it's being given to the working class, or not even that, like immigrants who, like, you know, beyond, they're like even lower than working class. And to these people who come in, these immigrants, that lifestyle is incredible because they're used to the shittiest lifestyle possible. And then so from their perspective, having those kind of benefits, which wouldn't really be like great for the average American, although it's certainly better than nothing, for them it's incredible. But for the average American, of course, now there's less from the pot to go around, so Americans get even less with benefits. And so it brings the standard down. Like, Americans should be used to the fucking high life, man. The benefit system should be for American people only, who are you know, American citizens, and they should reap as much of that as possible, the people in need, potentially. But that pot is being redistributed among millions of illegals. It's completely insane, and it just destroys American life. So Elon Musk bringing attention to that. So Vivek, talking about immigration, says the conspiracization of the Great Replacement theory is the standard left-wing playbook. Transparently advance a toxic policy, then label it a conspiracy theory when the other side contests the merits of it. We need a real debate on whether intentionally, I've lost the tweet, but he was going to say intentionally, you know, like facilitating illegal immigration is good or not. But we never even hear that debate online, unfortunately. Okay, like what other news is there? There's plenty of crazy stuff. So this was fucking insane. Now, over in Canada, Rebel News reporter David Menzies was brutally arrested by the police after he tried to ask Chrystia Freeland questions. So I think she's the VP of Canada. So what happened was this policeman went over and body checked a journalist, obviously on purpose. And then he said the journalist assaulted him. So it was a setup. And then they arrested him. So they're arresting journalists now who are questioning politicians in Canada. I'm not surprised, because this is what happens with socialism. It's a giant centralized government and top-down control. Have a look at this.
Freeland, how come the IRGC is not a terrorist group? Why is your government...
Deputy Prime Minister. So you see this woman, like she's walking with the Prime Minister. She's looking at the undercover police. So this is a setup. You can see she already recognized him.
What?
Now look at this. Look how far he's leaning away from the pole. Look how far he leaned into that guy. Look at that. He obviously just walked into this guy. Look at the body language of the reporter. He's getting body checked, essentially. This guy has come in and he's leaned into him on purpose. Let's watch it again. Can we do it in slow motion? Slow motion would serve up. Yeah, we can. Okay, so watch this. Watch this, the Communist Police of Canada. Right, like, look, he's like 50-50 with the pole. And the guy's like looking at the woman. And look where his arm is, right? It's flush with the pole. Now look how much he leans into this guy. There. Look at that. He like obviously leans into this guy in order to, as a pretext to arrest him. This is what's going on in Canada.
What are you doing? You're under arrest for assault. Why are you pushing me? You're under arrest for assault.
He said, you pushed me, you're under arrest for assault. For this.
Why is your government supporting Islamo-Nationalism? What?
Dude, he said, you pushed me, you're under arrest for assault. This is what's happening in Canada.
What are you doing? You're under arrest for assault. Why are you pushing me? You're under arrest for assault. You're under arrest for assault. Police, you're under arrest for assault. How am I under arrest? You bumped into me. You pushed into me. You bumped. I was just scrubbing. I got my credentials here, and you just bumped into me. So excuse
Police,
me.
you're under arrest.
What is your name and your badge? What is your name and your badge?
Journalism is now illegal in Canada if you bat for the wrong side. Yeah, this is a real thing. I'm really sorry to bring you this because it's disgusting, but that is what is that's what's happening over in Canada. Y'all. Wild stuff, huh? So let's see if we can find any other interesting news at the moment, because there is quite a lot going on. Lots of Epstein stuff, but really nothing's going to come out from the Epstein story. It would have already, I think. Okay, so this is referencing the illegal immigration. Libs of TikTok said, breaking. Buses are now pulling up to JMHS Brooklyn and dropping off illegals. School is closed tomorrow because illegals will be sleeping in the school's gym. This is disgraceful. NYC is prioritizing illegals over Americans. Yeah. So they're going to come for your homes next, is what Elon Musk is saying. Vivek says this is a great replacement. It's no longer a theory. So essentially these people can vote in America. There was lots of gaslighting by the left saying these people can't vote, but they can. So there was some stuff I found where it went into the laws of individual states, and it said if you're not registered as a citizen, you can still vote. So what they're trying to, again, socialism, like, let's give some people who don't deserve this role a role in the Star Wars franchise in order to turn it into a political propaganda vehicle so we can be more powerful. Star Wars is a very powerful franchise to take over, but it's going to ruin Star Wars. In the same way, let's bring all these people into America who don't deserve to come, because it's going to give us more power. They're going to vote for us. Every single illegal will vote for Biden, will vote for the left. That's why they bring them in. These people who don't know anything about America, they're not part of the American dream. They're here to sponge off the system, to get a handout. They're lazy, unproductive people, most of them. They're economic migrants. Those are the people who are going to dictate the future of America, who will vote. It doesn't matter if that destroys America. That's what they're trying to do. It's fucking disgusting. It's obviously happening. There's a conflict. There's some kind of disconnect between what some of the American officials say and what's happening. Biden's system sometimes makes noises about how they want to stop illegal immigration, and Mayorkas, the guy who's basically in charge of that, he will sometimes come out and say, you know, there's a lot of stuff going on at the border, but then it will just keep on happening. You see the videos of them cutting razor wire, letting illegals in, busing them into America, flying them to different states. So the system knows that people don't want it, and that's why they don't promote it. But they're doing it. So there is a conspiracy here. It is real. And it's obviously to get as many people into America as possible so that they can become voters. AOC is on record recently saying what we need to do is make all the illegals legal. This is what they're doing. This is part of the globalist agenda. It's what all the NGOs want. It's what Soros wants. It's what the UN wants. It is bring as many illegals as possible into the system and redistribute the wealth of people in the host country to these people, so we can have complete globalism, no borders, and essentially destroy America, because the American system is so strong. That is the bulwark against communism and socialism. It's the ultimate example of meritocracy. It's like, if you're good enough, you're going to make it. They need to destroy that in order to take over the world, essentially. America is the thing standing between the globalists and the nefarious socialists and people and like full on like communism. So that's why they're trying to do this. They have to destroy America. Elon Musk proves it. You know, he says Arizona clearly states that no proof of citizenship is required for federal elections. So that he references an X by Mark Jeffrey, who says, this is from my friend in Arizona just yesterday. It's the voting rules for Arizona. And here is the proof of citizenship requirement. It says to be eligible to vote a full ballot, you must submit proof of citizenship with your registration form or by 5 p.m. on the Thursday before election day. If you do not submit proof of citizenship, meaning if you're an illegal alien and we cannot acquire your proof of citizenship from the Arizona Motor Vehicle Division or the statewide voter registration database, you will receive a federal only ballot, which has only federal races and no state, county or local races or initiatives referendum. So in Arizona, if you're an illegal alien, one of the record 3 million who came in between the months of October and December 2023, you don't have to become a citizen in order to vote. You can't vote in state, county or local races, but you can vote in the most important race that dictates those races, which is the federal election, the big election that's coming this year in 2024. So this is happening. That's why there's so many illegals, because many of them can vote. So this is the end of America. And no one's trying to stop it. And I don't think it can be stopped, but you better fucking get out and vote, my friends. Otherwise we could be in trouble. Deathclaw Jedi in the comments says, do me a favor, become a Japanese citizen and run for prime minister, then close Japan if you win. And then you can come out here, mate, when you're retired. I'll find you a place, mate. Yeah, I'll do my best. So Don Lemon has a show now on X, and Elon Musk is welcoming. So unlike the left, who they will never give airtime to the other side and call them racists and white supremacists, Elon Musk welcomes Don Lemon, and that makes me even want to watch his show. Who knows? When he's treated nicely and he has his own show, perhaps he'll be more honest. So X Business says, we're delighted to announce a new content partnership with Don Lemon for his new project, The Don Lemon Show. I think X is going to take over as the main social media platform because it gives everyone opportunity, like the American system should, on a meritocracy. Everyone come on in. Leftist journalists come on in. Right-wing journalists, conservative people come on in. Everyone has a chance. The left hamstring themselves by denying all these great conservative commentators or even central commentators or classical liberals space on their platforms. Like, let's have everyone. Like, as long as you're not calling for violence, then come on board. Like Alex Jones came on, he was fun, but I had to mute him because there's just too much conspiratorial shit. The left think we're stupid and we can't make up our own minds. It's just like, give everyone a spotlight and the truth will rise to the top. Thank God Elon Musk bought X. Milky T says, can you run in Japan if you're not a natural citizen? Probably not. So Disclosed TV says, new hot mic catches journos laughing and joking about Trump being assassinated at appeals court. Okay, sounds like a very fair trial of Trump. Did you know that according to Amazing Maps, Japan is farther north, south, east and west than Korea? Amazing, right? Okay. So Elon Musk knows what happened in 2020. He says, you can print your own ballot and mail it in. He's referencing an X by Bricksuit who says, people might also be surprised that California has a program that allows you to print your own ballot at home and mail it in or place it in a drop box. What could possibly go wrong? And since they did this in 1994, I have found out that only Democrats have won. I wonder if that's a coincidence. Okay, let's keep going. So what other things are happening in the news, bruv? So Ray Epps, the man who took credit for orchestrating January the 6th, by encouraging people to raid the Capitol, has been sentenced to 12 months probation. He's obviously an intelligence agency plant. If the intelligence agencies, the people whose job it is to investigate election fraud, are planting people like this to stimulate a riot in order to like false flag the opposition, then, well, are you surprised we're in the situation we're in? And are you surprised that I don't believe it's possible for Trump to win in 2024? Okay, so you want to see what the cost of having migrants in your country are. So this is an insane X. So David Afton says, a migrant boasts that he is in bed until midday while the French get up at 6 a.m. to go to work to pay their taxes. This is fucking insane. So you want to see how much benefits migrants are getting from the taxes that you're paying This is fucking insane. Okay, check this out, right? French migrant. Look how much money he's getting.
Je vis en France.
I live in France. I live in Paris. I need help from France.
De la France.
The French work for me. Yes.
Oui.
All the French work.
Bossent. Vous bossez.
You work. You get up every morning at 6 a.m. and you go to work.
Bosser pendant que moi je dors.
While I sleep, I get up at noon. At the end of the month, I have my RSA.
Mon RSA.
I get RSA of 600 euros every month.
Tous les mois. Et j'ai 300.
And I have 300 euros of the local mission that pays me every month.
Ça fait 900 euros.
That's 900 euros he gets a month. My rent costs 100 euros. I have 350 euros of RSA. So I basically pay the rent at 150 euros. At the end of every month, I save 600 euros by doing nothing.
Et puis la mission locale.
And then the local mission finances my permit, 1,300 euros. And the local mission also pays me for my transport. Doesn't pay transport, doesn't contribute, leeches the system. I spend 84 euros a month. Electricity is the social services that pay for my electricity. That's your tax money. They pay for electricity, gas and water. Dude, my electricity and water was cut off when I went back to Japan. No one pays it for me. It's the social services that pay. I do nothing. I decided not to do anything. All the French are there. You have the sum. You take the sum. You work, you pay the taxes for me. Dude, like, that is what socialism is. That's what's happening in America. The people coming in getting benefits like that out of your money, so you have less money. Socialism is here, dude, and it's being pushed by all of the NGOs, and it's being pushed by the America, the Biden system. We're in so much trouble, man. We're in so much trouble. We need to get rid of the Dems. We need to somehow get rid of these crooked motherfuckers. So what else is going on in the news? What else is going on? So yeah, it's basically a lot of illegal immigration stuff. It's the Boeing, which is and various institutions that are suffering from diversity, equity, and inclusion, really put into spotlight by Christopher Rufo, who brought down Harvard president Claudine Gay for plagiarism, a DEI hire. And it's like Vivek's doing pretty well. We've got journalists being arrested in Canada. We've got this video of a huge line of people who went out to see President Trump in Iowa, from Antonio Sabato Jr. on X, who says, sure, Biden won. Biden can't get crowds anything like this, and yet he's the most popular president in the history of America. New Girl Standard says, yo man, listening, can't talk in the car, just wanted to say hi. Hello, New Girl Standard, how are you, mate? How are you? We've got an X here where it's 21 minutes of Democrats blaming electronic voting machines for losing in 2016. But if you do that with 2020 and you get upset about it, you'll be thrown into jail. We've got this interesting meme that says, days since conviction of sex trafficking kids for Ghislaine Maxwell, 550. Clients identified and arrested in Black Book 0. And these are the intelligence agencies are the ones who whose job it is to find out who these criminals are. And if we're trusting these guys to deal with crimes like this, how do you think they're going to deal with like elections and potential like election ord fray? Especially when in the Durham report it was revealed that they would do anything to get rid of Donald Trump, and they knew that the Steele report was bullshit, and they still went after him, and the whole system is trying to arrest him. You think this system's gonna try to work out what happens in 2024 when the inevitable happens? Do you know what I'm saying? I mean, we are at like the apex of like institutional corruption right now in America. Kaneko the Great on X says, in 2007, Senator Joe Biden declared that no great nation has uncontrolled borders, warning that America must build a border fence and increase border agents to secure the nation against drugs, terror, and illegal immigration. Biden accused wealthy Republicans of not wanting to do that, and now he's overseeing like mass illegal immigration. Like, fuck, man, in the last like 15 years, the corruption in America has gone to insane levels, and it's so bad that they can't get found out, or the whole system would come down and it would just create mad shockwaves. I do hope that it will at some point. Here's a mad stat. More illegal immigrants are coming into the United States than American people are being born under Biden. How about that? Wild, wild stuff. So that's what's in my bookmarks. really, we talked about Star Wars today, and yeah, how that's going to be destroyed. But fuck it, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. We're going to make some good content ourselves, because we can't leave it up to these cunts to entertain us. Can we now? Okay, I'm going to jump on over to playing Dark Souls on the PlayStation 5. So please join me for some video gaming. If you are watching on YouTube, then you should be automatically redirected. You won't really have to do anything. It should automatically redirect just after this. And we're going to play for a couple of hours. It is 7:39 in the morning in Tokyo. And yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing you within 5 minutes. So hang around and see you soon. Much love and take care. And again, if you enjoyed tonight's episode, please consider becoming a patron on patreon.com/Johnny Massacre. Please consider donating on streamlabs.com/Johnny Massacre. See you in a bit. Much love and take care.